it's Chrissy's, known online as Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. We're starting with the obvious, it's Eurovision time again. This past week was the 2022 Eurovision Song Contest. And it got off to a slightly rocky start. First because the first semifinal sent through way too many pretty ballads, which I'm like, and a lot of really good songs did not get through, which sucks. But also because Peacock decided this year that we needed a host. We didn't need one last year, and it was perfectly entertaining and fine. We just watched the show as it is. But they decided that we needed to do what all the other European countries do and have a local host to tell us who everybody is and what's going on. And they chose Johnny Weir, which I will give him credit. He says he's a Eurovision fan. He does seem to know what he's talking about. And it was better than when Logo had it and they had like Carson Kressley trying to do it, and he obviously had never watched Eurovision before in his life, and he was just commenting on the clothes, and I'm just like, you're useless. But Johnny Weir, like, he kept interrupting too much, interrupting footage that I would have liked to have seen, and his volume levels were higher than the show, and it was like, so he'd interrupt and it would be annoying, but it would also be really loud, which is jarring. But then by the second semifinal, they sent through better songs, and they adjusted Johnny Weir's levels, and he didn't interrupt as much, so they were like learning on the fly, so that's good. So that by the grand final, he interrupted even less, we got more show, and his levels were fine. And he even learned how to say grand final correctly, because in the first semifinal he kept calling it the grand finale, which no. And then in the second one, he started calling it the grand final, but with a fake European accent to call it the grand finale. And I'm like, no one calls it the grand finale, even in Europe. It's the grand final. But he finally said it correctly. So it was a good show in the end. The grand final was a good show. And there were some surprises, thankfully. Like, I didn't expect Spain to do as well as they did, with the jury even. And then, of course, there was the UK resurgence, where everyone loved the UK song this year for some reason, so instead of getting 0 points, they came in second. They could have won, and you can blame their second place finish on Vladimir Putin, because they would have won, except the Ukraine got the audience televote, like, in the #1 slot, and they got like hundreds of votes from the televote, so they got a lot of points, so they flew to the top of the leaderboard and nobody could touch them. So the Ukraine were the winners of this year's Eurovision. I like their song. It's not the best, but it's a good song, and it has an absolutely amazing flute solo, so I love the flute solo. So I basically pretend like it won for the flute solo, not because of the war. But everybody wants to show their support for Ukraine, and even in Eurovision, so they won this year. But it was not a surprise. Like, I was expecting the audience to vote for Ukraine, so even if the jury didn't like the song, the televote was going to still probably put him in first place, and they were going to win anyway. It was kind of an obvious foregone conclusion. Just like with the American Song Contest, which they tried, that was the Eurovision producers and stuff, they tried to do an American version where each state and territory submits a song. So you had like 54 songs competing. There were actually some good songs, and Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg were pretty good hosts. They were entertaining. But as soon as they introduced, like in the first episode, they're like, here, the singer from Oklahoma, her name is Alexa. She's a Korean American who's had some success singing in Korea as well. And I'm like, ah, crap. Because as soon as they introduce a K-pop singer, like the K-pop stans were going to vote her through every round and make sure she won in the end. And she did. So it was kind of like, duh, obviously she was going to win. Like, and that always takes away a little bit from the song contest. There's no surprise winner at the end, and it's not that exciting because you know who's going to win. But whatever, I still love Eurovision, and it's fabulous, and you should always check it out. Every year I say this. Oh, wait, no, I can't do games. First, I have to talk about movies, because, as I promised, after I shot last episode, I went to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And I saw it in IMAX 3D. And, much to my delight, the IMAX projector did not break down, and I got to watch the entire IMAX 3D movie, and it was amazing! Sam Raimi should only ever make 3D movies from now on, because it was just so good. And even being in a crowded movie theater full of people without masks, because nobody wants to wear masks anymore, I wasn't too uncomfortable. I was wearing mine. I felt protected. The guy next to me never showed up, so I had an empty seat here. But the movie itself, the 3D is fantastic. If you have a chance to see it in 3D, definitely do, because the visuals, the Sam Raimi zooming in and out and throwing things at the camera, like, that's so perfect for 3D. It was amazing. It's a good thing that I'm doing the review now, because my thoughts last week were very different than they are now. I call it the Alien 3 effect, where back when I saw Alien 3, I left that theater going, that was a piece of garbage, that movie was terrible, I hated it, it's the worst. But then as I thought on it, I was like, okay, and I accepted Ripley's death, and I said she had to sacrifice herself to save everybody, I get it, it's fine. So it's the same kind of thing here, no spoilers still, it's only been a week, where I enjoyed watching the movie, but then at the end of it, I was like, I liked the movie, but I didn't like what happened in the movie, and how things turned out, so it was upsetting, and I was like, not cool with it. Like, I get it, but I don't like it, if that makes sense. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And of course my husband's like, it's comics, they can undo anything they want, and do whatever they want, it's a comic book. And I'm like, fair point, but I feel like the movies are a little more permanent than the comics, where they just make shit up all the time. But who knows what might happen in the next movie. But yeah, no, it was good. And if you can see it in 3D, definitely do. At the other end of the spectrum, last night, we watched the new Firestarter remake. It's in theaters, but also streaming on Peacock. And, oh no, it's a hot mess, pun intended. Streaming makes sense. If I'd seen it in a theater, I would have been surprised that it made it into a theater, because it looks like a cheap, low-budget Sci-Fi Channel movie. It's just not good, and it was not good. Do not see it. Do not even stream it. If you have Peacock, do not waste your time. It's not worth it. Now on to games. I actually didn't make a lot of progress in Shenmue 2 this week, because this past week was extremely stressful, and so I broke out the old No Man's Sky, because I needed to calm down and just explore the universe and chill out a little. And No Man's Sky is like my chill out game. Except there was a little part in the beginning where it wasn't very relaxing, because I stumbled upon a side quest where it takes you to this, like, pirate system. It's full of pirates and, like, outlaws and whatever, so the law is not, and, like, the space station's, like, full of, like, garbage and trash, and it's kind of crazy. But it was just a little side quest, and I just had to go do a few things. But I did have to fight some pirates, which I hate doing, because I'm so bad at the ship-to-ship combat. It's just awful and embarrassing. And my ship is an explorer ship, not a fighter ship, so it's not the best at fighting. So, but once I finished that quest and I got my cool hood, so I look really awesome now. Which doesn't really matter, because I never play it in third person, so it doesn't matter what my character looks like, because nobody sees it. I'm always playing in first person, so whatever. But after I got the hood, then I went and I played, and I could explore nice systems with less piracy, and I could just explore some nice planets with relaxing, pleasant weather, and just scan some flora and fauna and chill out a bit. In fact, I found a really nice planet, and decided to go and play that one in VR. So I dusted off the old PSVR and plugged that in. So that was wonderfully relaxing, and it was nice. And found a crashed freighter and dug up a bunch of crap, and it was... Then I went to play it again. I landed on a planet and looked in my inventory, and everything was gone. Literally just gone. I was like, where did everything go? What just happened? Oh my god. And I checked my other inventories, like the ship inventory and the other parts of my suit inventory. It was the general suit inventory. It was just empty. And I was like, where did it go? What just happened? Oh my god. And I started freaking out, and I had to shut it off, because I was like, I can't. This game is supposed to calm me down, not stress me out. So I was like, I can't have this. No more bugs, please. So I shut it off, and I took a breath. And then I went back the next day, because even though you only have the one game save, in there you can load your previous autosave or your previous manual save. So I loaded my previous manual save, which happened to be from a previous planet where I had saved at a save point, and thankfully my inventory was there. So I don't know what happened. I will not be going to that planet again because my inventory disappeared, and I don't want that to happen again. So I may in fact just leave this entire system immediately. I haven't actually played. I just turned it on and loaded that save just to make sure that my inventory is back, and once it was, I was like, okay, thank you. Now we're done. The other problem in all of this is that during all of this, there was an update to the PS4 system software, which I think happened actually before this bug, but I mean, that's not going to affect the actual game. You know, that's the system, not the game. There wasn't a No Man's Sky update, which I would think, that's what destroyed my inventory. But the system software, what it has done now is made it impossible to put my PS4 to sleep and just wake up and start playing a game. Every time I try to wake it up, I have to turn it off and turn it back on again and reset it, and it's super irritating, and I hate when this happens to my PS4, and I would love to replace it with a brand new PS5 that wouldn't do that, except you still can't get a PS5 anymore. Now, that was one thing I wanted to mention also before I sign off, is that I saw that Gotham Knights, the new game from the Arkham Games team, I loved the Batman Arkham games, and now they have Gotham Knights is coming out, and I'm not sure about it, because it's like it's a bunch of characters. I think there's like multiplayer and stuff, and I was like, depends on the single player game. But they're now saying that it's only going to be available for the next gen systems, so that's only going to be on PS5. I can't play it on PS4, so that sucks, because that's the first game that's like been on my radar that now suddenly you have to have the next gen system, and I'm like, ooh, and I have to wonder if that's going to affect their sales at all, because there are a lot of people with PS4s who might buy the game, but there aren't a lot of people with PS5s yet. Not as many anyway, so they're kind of cutting into their sales there, I think. But if that can only play on a next-gen system, then it only plays on a next-gen system. And, I mean, I'll get one eventually. One day, they'll start making those chips again, and then I can maybe get one without having to buy them on the black market, which I won't do, because I'm not paying more than retail. Sorry. I'm not that kind of person. So that's it for now, and I'm going to shut up because this went on way too long, and come back next time and see what I'm playing then, and if I've had any more annoying bugs and crashing systems.